This is a 5-star review of the Blues Brothers movie. Now, this movie came out when I was a child, and for some reason I remember watching it with my mom and dad when I was a kid, and I've seen it dozens of times since then. It just happens to be one of my favorite movies of all time. Here are 5 reasons why. The first being John Belushi as Jake Blues. He is so much fun in this movie. This was the first movie he ever made, I believe. And man, does he carry this movie. It's just non-stop fun. He gets the band back together. He is so passionate about his music. He's just great. The best part about Jake is that he never loses his cool. I think he's kind of a Zen master. When he has to perform in front of the judge, he's so cool. When they get chased by Nazis, he's just so calm and relaxed and collected. He just knows everything's gonna work out in the end. And honestly, he's right. Everything works out for Jake and Elwood at the end. They get the girl, they get their money, and they get their music back. The second reason I love this movie is because it's got Don Aykroyd as Elwood Blues, and these two together are just such a great duo. John Belushi and Don Aykroyd were friends in real life as well, which really translates on screen. There's like a warmth between these two characters. There's like a real bond there that's not forced at all. Also, I should mention Carrie Fisher, who plays the role of the lounge singer in the film. She was also friends with John Belushi and Don Aykroyd. So there's this kind of real warmth that comes from this cast. These are people that actually like each other in real life, and you can tell. Another thing I love about Elwood is that he's got this like faith-based philosophy, and he's always talking about the powers that be and the man in charge. And he doesn't let anything stop him from pursuing his goals. You know, he sees the mission through. He is brave. He's not afraid to speak his mind. In fact, he's unapologetically himself. Number 3 is the music. The songs in this movie are just so good. I mean, you've got classics like Everybody Needs Somebody, Soul Man, and Rubber Biscuit. All the songs are blues standards now. And the movie features Aretha Franklin, James Brown, and Ray Charles. This is really a great soundtrack. The film even has an original song called Gonna Take a Miracle, which is featured during the film's opening credits. But while the music is amazing in this film, it almost wasn't. You see, John Belushi originally wanted to make a film about the blues with Steve Martin. However, Steve Martin dropped out, and John Belushi was able to convince Dan Aykroyd to take over the role. As a result, Don brings his own comedic style to the character of Elwood, and I think it really works. No, 4 is the supporting cast. The Blues Brothers has one of the best supporting casts of any movie ever made. I mean, you've got a young Cab Calloway as the club owner. You got John Candy as the corrupt cop. You got Frank Oz as the mob boss. There's cameos from B.O. Diddley and Magic Johnson. There's also great performances from Henry Gibson, Carol Kane, and Steve Guttenberg. Seriously, this movie is packed with comedic talent. A lot of the side plots in the film revolve around the supporting characters. For example, there is a great bit where Joe Guitar Walsh thinks that his amp is possessed by the devil. Then there's also a wonderful subplot involving Elwood's girlfriend, played by Carrie Fisher. There's a scene where she's hanging out in the back of the car with the guys, and she says something along the lines of, you know, I used to dream of getting off this planet, but now I just want to stay here and help old men cross the street. This was before Carrie Fisher had become famous for Star Wars. So, in this movie, she gets to show off her comedic chops. No. 5 is that this movie is a comedy. I mean, sure, it's got drama and action, but above all, it's a comedy. The humor in this movie is subtle. It's not slapstick. Most of the jokes have to do with the absurd situations that the main characters find themselves in. And those situations are usually brought on by Elwood's naivety and lack of common sense. In one of the best scenes, Elwood goes to the tailor shop to pick up the suits that Jake bought for him, and he says, I'm a size 42, regular, long, no, I'm a size 42 short. And then the tailor says, well, that depends on where you measure. Elwood looks down at his crotch and replies, well, that's my problem. Also, if you look closely, you'll see tons of little jokes throughout the movie. Like in one scene, Jake and Elwood are outside the jailhouse after they're released. And as they walk away, you can see a prison guard spit on the sidewalk. Then, another great joke has to do with the Nazis. When the Blues Brothers band shows up to play the gig at the Bob Dylan Club, they mistake Jake and Elwood for being the entertainment, so they start harassing them as they walk to the stage. The story of the Blues Brothers is simple. Jake Blues, a former musician, is released from prison. His brother Elwood comes to pick him up, and on the way home, they decide to reform their band in order to raise money for the orphanage where they grew up. Along the way, they meet lots of interesting characters and have lots of crazy adventures. One of the best things about this story is that we get to see two brothers reconnect. In one of the final scenes, Jake asks Elwood, do you really believe in that stuff? And Elwood replies, see? I believe in the man in charge, and the man in charge believes in me. And as long as I believe in myself, I can get myself into heaven. In conclusion, The Blues Brothers is one of the greatest comedies of all time. It's funny without being crass or vulgar. It's got an amazing soundtrack. It's got unforgettable characters. What more could you ask for? There's something about this movie that just makes me feel good. Maybe it's the message of brotherhood, or maybe it's just the sheer amount of comedic talent on display. Whatever it is, I love this movie. It's one of my all-time favorites. If you haven't seen it in a while, I highly recommend giving it a watch. You're in for a treat. That's all for now. See you next time.